Hey, how's it going? First I'm warning, it may shut off, the camera may shut off, and also I don't know how many more of these I'm going to be able to do, just saying, so be aware if I disappear that there was an issue. I will be back. I'm so dumb, I was all, if the phone gets full, I'll never be able to do my stuff again. Hello, the cards. I'll have to just pull the cards out of the phone. I only got my first phone like 5 years ago, so shut up. Anyway, I pulled two cards. I pulled one from the Shaman's Dream Oracle deck, this one here. I'll show you the card and then I'll show you my signs because I should have done that first before I start talking, but this is the card that I pulled, and if you think I can read that, haha, thank you for for thinking that my eyesight is that good. It must be the big goggles, but I'm telling you, man, it's all an illusion. I can't see, or at least not from that distance. It has to be like right here. And the card I pulled is Covenant. And the subtitle is Sacred Contract. And as you can see, there is a... come on, the word was just right in my mind. Well, a piece of paper. I don't know why papyrus is trying to come in, but sure. I don't know, maybe it's a really old contract. It's some word for this specific type of paper, and it just flew right out of my parchment. Piece of parchment. Fairly Odd Parents. I always do it wrong. Or right. Anyway, yeah. Spaz. But as you can see, it vaguely says, where is my indicator? No, it doesn't say that. That was me saying that. But I am searching for that thing. What the heck is it? What the heck was that? Something just growled at me. I mean, I don't think that's what it actually was. Something just vibrated weird, but it sounded like a growl. Oh, there it is. Came from the area of the growl. Were you trying to get my attention? Anyway, here at the top, you can see that it's very faint, but it says contract, as if since this part is not filled in and undecided or unwritten as of yet, it's not even sure if it's going to be a contract yet. Maybe. Pin that. And then the other card I pulled was from the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit deck. And it was the cheetah card. And I still didn't show you the signs behind me, did I? Let me finish talking about the cheetah briefly. When I pulled it, I immediately got... It's about sprints, not a marathon. Okay, now, please look at my signs. I hope they save my butt. Whoa, almost missed your little pedestal there. Okay, so, this was a very impressionable kind of reading, and I pulled the cards earlier and got all kinds of stuff in between, and one thing I got right before watching this, I don't know if that's the right turn of phrase, but anyway, I was watching a bat essay, like someone talking about Batman in some way, shape, or form, and this particular YouTuber was a psychologist, I believe he said, as opposed to psychiatrist. But it could have been the other one because I get those easily confused, and I didn't go back to make sure, but I think he said psychologist. So this is another thing I like about the bat stuff, is all of the people out there sort of opining on it, and also like putting the stories and the interplay between the characters and the way that it reflects reality, and like how we, the viewer, are running it through our own filters with our own particular flaws and psychological stuff. You know, like everybody's different, but there's a lot of commonality too. So that's why I think stuff like that reaches so many of us on so many levels. And that's why the people talking about the Batman, aside from like just enjoying the whole spectrum of the Batman personally, I think it's really fascinating the way people connect with those stories. It's totally, I feel like, the same way well, I don't think we do it as much these days, but used to with mythology, and we're able to understand it and extract like operable meaning from it, you know, because we understood how to do a metaphor and symbols and, you know, symbolism and stuff. And wow, we're not even really allowed to think that way anymore. And that's kind of getting back to some really ancient kind of behavioral belief systems. And I mean, like, that doesn't even surprise me in a way, because well, if you remember, I guess like a couple of years ago, there was some comment that Samuel Alito made, one of the Supreme Court justices, who is incredibly conservative and a male. And so he's talking about some, I believe, women's health thing that I feel shouldn't in the way that he did. But he wanted to relegate women to some 17th century, so like from some religious law from the 1650s, I think. And it's like, bro, I mean, you want to do that to us? They were not as kind to men back then either. I mean, there was a lot of eunuch making and things, and drawing and quartering and boiling in oil. And I mean, if you really want to bring that back, let's have equality, you know? Let's not, though. I feel like been there, done that. And, like, can we just learn from it and move on? We got a lot of people that want to regress. Getting off track. Reeling it back in. So, kind of want to talk about stuff like that. But I want to talk at all. Let's try this again. So I started off talking about the bat stuff, because I want to talk about stuff that's kind of like a little like low vibration, a little negative, but it's everywhere, it's all over, and it can't be ignored. It shouldn't be ignored. It's kind of like what we're supposed to actively be dealing with right now, like making those adjustments, because there is a push from one, let's call it, side for a certain type of timeline, and there's a not so much a push from the other direction, more of an acceptance and an inclination to accept that this darkness exists and to coexist alongside it just fine, and not have to get aggro about things and ballistic and physical and fighty and stabby and bomby and shooty and all the other stuff that puts holes in things and people. We don't necessarily have to do that, because you know what? We can actually really hurt each other with just words, and that should be enough. Like, if you have to go beyond that, maybe you don't need to see like the gun store merchant. You might need to see like a shrink or something, because like whatever you're so mad at about somebody else, you're effectively, even if it makes no sense to you at all and you don't even know what the hell I mean, you're effectively shooting yourself. And the more that you don't accept that on some level, the more you're not coexisting. You know, you're like putting up all the kind of things that are problems and difficulties and this stuff that kind of makes the climate for opposition. And like I was saying, one side kind of really wants that, another one's kind of like, if you have to, do you, but you know, can we not? That's kind of like my feeling about it. And so, let me start with like the nicer stuff, I guess. So, as you may or may not know, yesterday was my birthday, and it's a typical year. It's not like a big deal. If there's any excitement about it, I have to make it myself. So, what happened is I've been doing these surveys reviewing like Amazon original shows, and I started doing it for something in return, obviously, because otherwise it's not that time consuming, and I do have plenty of time, but still I want to be compensated, you know. So that's when I decide to do the surveys, is when I know I'm going to get something I'm going to get something in return. I'm going to be compensated. So I do them for YouGov, and sometimes I get Amazon credits, and sometimes, depending on what my needs happen to be at the time, I'll get like a cash gift card, a debit card. So like I said, I also do them for Amazon, and I've been doing them for probably like a couple of months for like a year, and it occurred to me probably a week before my birthday. I was like, hey, wasn't I supposed to get paid for that? And then a bunch of other stuff happened, and I completely forgot about it. And then like the next day or the next couple of days, I got an email from Amazon going, hey, you know, you got all these credits sitting in your gift card. And I was like, I do? I was like, oh yeah, I was supposed to get compensated for that. And the funny thing is money's still funny, still trying to get caught up and having a hard time, because, boy, I don't know if you watch a lot of, like, stuff about financial news and people, but apparently, and I'm finding out this is true, once you get into debt, it's, like, really hard to get out. And I don't even have it, like, that bad. It's just deep for me. You know, it's not like crippling my life. Changing it, definitely, but like I'm fine. So, you know, I supplement my income because I needed a couple of things. Like, I wanted a new shirt, I wanted another hoodie, and when I got to the end of my money after I paid my obligations, I did not have any money to spare to get these things. And it's not like they're luxuries, even like they're clothes I needed. So I was like, oh, okay, next time, you know, like with the paycheck, and I didn't have the money for it, I ran out. I was like, okay, next time. Just kind of resigned, because that's how life is sometimes. Like, I just don't always have the money or whatever the situation is to get what I want, and then I end up having to wait, and I can be a big stupid baby about it and get all mad and, you know, take myself in that direction. But like, why? Exhausting. So, I mean, I used to, but at some point I realized that is dumb. Just like, it'll happen at some point, like you'll get to it. And I have found when I take that attitude, things go a lot better. So, money ran out, couldn't get the shirt I wanted, couldn't get the hoodie. Also, one of the sides on my earbuds that I got like last year with a with a YouGov credit, I'm pretty sure, one side went out. So, it's okay, because I use them when I'm out on my cycle. So it's good that one side isn't, because I'll have music on, and usually pretty loud. And I know to be aware of the cars, because I used to be a bike messenger, so it's not like I'm not out there with some, like, built-in experience, I'll call it. But it was good, in a way, to have the one side out for safety's sake. So it was like kind of a bummer, but it was kind of a good idea. So I didn't really stress on it. I just knew I wanted to replace them. And that was another thing that I wanted to buy that I didn't end up being able to. So the email came from Amazon. I had enough credits to get the shirt, the hoodie, and the hoodie makes me laugh because I have a few. Like, this is just made of jersey. It's more like a layering situation or just like a look kind of thing. But it works for me because I'm from a hot place and it's colder here, and I've been here like going on 30 some plus years or something like that, and I still am cold all the time, so I like to layer. And I was able to get, with those credits, new earbuds, the new hoodie, which I told my person that I have a hoodie for every, well, it works better when it's written, but I said I have a hoodie for every moody. It's true. I just buy them. I like them, and they're practical. And then the other thing I got was a box of Spike seasoning, which is vegetarian, salt-free, and tasty. And it's like all these herbs and spices and like orange peel, dried orange peel, and it's got like a ton of ingredients, and I love it, but they don't sell it in stores. It's the weirdest thing. I have to order it on Amazon. So, and it's expensive, which, I mean, inflation, recession, blah, 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 that shit was always, that stuff was always expensive. So, the extra is not often with the actual money, with the actual income. So the little surveys help. And the best thing about it was I ordered the stuff and then completely forgot all about it. And then on my birthday, because I have the porch pirates, I have to have my deliveries sent to my caregiver's house. And she arrived on yesterday, my birthday, with all this, well, a box full of Amazon for me. So it just kind of worked out that I gave them to myself, but I got presents on my birthday, so that was cool. I liked that. And that's how things kind of work out. Like, if you're in the right mindset and not, like, stressing too much about the money stuff. And then also, I've been doing something over the past year, more and more, like I'm almost getting addicted to it. It's kind of weird, but I don't think it's going to hurt me to get addicted to it, and that is donating to causes that move me to donate to them. That's good enough. And so there is actually an overall message I feel to what I want to say here, including the cards. And it is, and I keep coming back to it, and it is not, like, I didn't start doing this with the determination to be the ascension talker, but I feel like that's, if you don't get that I'm always talking about, what I'm always talking about is kind of to that end, at least for myself. But, you know, I think everything, I think it doesn't just apply only to me, what I talk about. So I am aware that I do talk about sort of ascension stuff a lot, and fine. I'm not, like, I don't have a problem with it, but it's not what I have set out to do. So I feel like this message, when I eventually give it, is overall about service. And so, I'm going to move these cards aside. And I took some notes about some other stuff that I was watching. So let me finish talking about Batman real quick. I'm just going to read you my notes, because that will be the fastest way. This is just where I started, like, the words just came into my head, okay? Don't ask. How do you know your part is straight, as in the part in your hair? When I lived at home with my mom, she'd added a mirror on an expandable mount. This enabled us to see the backs of our heads. At the time, however, I now recall that by the time we had that arrangement, I no longer wore my hair parted. So why the image? And then I heard eyes in the back of your head. Okay. Not sure. Moving on for now. I was watching a bat study show. There's a genre of videos on YouTube that do breakdowns of comics and characters of the long play forms, movies, both live action and animated, and series. This particular essay was by a psychologist, I think he said, and he covered a lot of ground, but the area of particular interest to me focused on the bat's sleep habits. It was of interest to me because he describes all of these micro sleep techniques the bat could or does use. He talked about the potential benefits and losses to his or our mental state from sleep loss. Obviously, loss of sleep can be dangerous during waking hours. You have a job that requires a performance level of 100%. You want to be on it. You don't want to be hallucinating or whatever because you didn't get enough sleep. It's just interesting to me, everything about the bat and the man. He was that before anything. He was always a man, a human, before the tragic defining moment of his life, when his parents got murdered in front of him. If you don't know the bat story, actually it's still just Bruce Wayne at that juncture. When he diverged from full humanhood and started thinking like a bat, a very strange bat with a voracious need to learn, to feed itself with info and physical disciplines. We're martial arts and meditative states. Even nutrition becomes an important part of that which makes the bat and Bruce Wayne able to be the high-functioning personas he needs to be to make the overall package, the bat, the Bruce, and whomever else he's called to be. Well, talk about dedicating your life to service. So, micro sleeps equal sprints. Ideally, you want to sleep the marathon if you're like anyone else but Bruce Wayne or the Bat. So one thing I didn't write down here, I don't know why I didn't, thank goodness I remembered it, was a sleep thing that this doctor talked about that is actually a rare disorder that some people have, that they only need like 4 hours of sleep. So quickly, what he talked about is how Bruce has this need to be awake all the time, to be on guard, because he is a guardian as the Bat. And so he needs to be able to get as much out of as little sleep as he can possibly do to achieve the awareness that he needs at the level that he needs to be, and to still be functioning and not like hallucinating or whatever other negative symptoms you could have from massive sleep loss. So this doctor was saying that he could have this disorder where you don't even need that much sleep. And some of the other stuff that he talked about with the various ways of micro sleeping was that through like repetition, you can like change your diurnal sleep pattern, but you got to do it on a regular basis. Like you have to reinstate a sleep pattern from like the source material one that you come with, I guess, and through like specially formulated nutritional methods and figuring out which micro sleep works for him, either in combination with or because of the sleep, the unusual, I don't want to say disorder, but the unusual sleep pattern that he may or may not have that the doctor talked about. It all has to work so that he can go out and be as strong as he needs to be, as impervious to pain as he needs to be, as able to access all of the stuff he's learned, like all the mental and physical disciplines. I mean, think about it. This guy's like eating super high nutrient density foodstuffs and barely sleeping and training even in his sleep. Actually, I should link. Why am I not linking that video? Link the bat video. So, I don't know. I mean, this is not even a real person that this doctor is devoting all this time and energy to, and all of these other people. And I feel like there's a reason why we pay so much attention to it. Like, there's a message there for us. And I feel like it's about service, because as Bruce Wayne, the entrepreneur, or the wealthy, whatever, I can't even think of the words. You know, you might know. It's not hard to look it up, though. Bruce Wayne of Batman, Google it if you don't know. Although I don't know how you don't know. Anyway, get out of that loop. He went from this boy who saw his parents murdered, who grew up wanting to avenge, and let's not forget this is what his life goal was for most of his early life, was to find the murderer of his parents. And well, Batman doesn't kill, but boy, I mean, he doesn't catch him over many years, and he just gets angrier and angrier. Come on, he does. And he's like, he doesn't kill, and he's got all these rules and structures, so it's like, it's no wonder he's like so like terse. Doesn't want to get close to people, can't get close to people. Relationships he does have are all messed up. I'm not even talking about the Bat family, specifically all the young people, a lot of boys, like a lot there, not doing it today, but really complex, layered sort of personality. And it's not real, but it's something that reflects us, that we can then reflect upon. And also I want to say, like, over time, right, because of different artists that create the actual art, and then like the script writers, the people that continue the story based on the source material, will be of different ages, they will have gone through different things, they will be of different cultural or racial backgrounds, and so all of those filters are going to affect a different character to Batman. You'll have like the basic Bat structure, but I mean, watch a YouTube channel called Implicitly Pretentious. I'll link it. Oh shoot, I didn't finish writing that. Bat psych vid link. What was I just talking about? Uh-oh, I lost it. Well, what was I talking about? Oh, the Bat revenge. That he's, you know, he went from wanting to like, oh, well, what would he do had he found him? He didn't, though. So over the years, his attitude changed. So if you watch Implicitly Pretentious, that is the name of the channel, he talks about a lot of comic book stuff, but his Bat stuff is particularly interesting. I highly recommend it, because he also comes from it from, I believe that guy's a sociologist. I'll provide the link. He's really interesting, I think. Let me write it all down. I'll write like the first word and then leave and try to come back and be all, what was I saying? I have no idea. So let me get it all down. Pretentious. Okay. So, like, okay, different viewpoints writing the stories over the years. Also, he goes from, want to find this guy, want to avenge my parents' death. Now, at the time, closer to the time that it happened, like, he would have had to go from being the boy to the adult. So there's time passed. But then as he becomes the adult, he becomes the bat. And then as that progresses, that persona, and he has not caught the villain that killed his parents, he gets, like, mean and bitter and angry and bat-like. He becomes the bat. But at some point it changes to his goal is that he's the vigilante so that no one has to feel fear and ... not feel the fear that he had felt for years that was so crippling and life-changing that he became the bat. To, I mean, I guess deal with it. Like, kind of really messed up, but I don't know. Rich people are weird. I don't know. But ultimately, his goal was more philanthropic as far as, like, Bruce Wayne definitely philanthropic with the money, but just a more, I don't know, like a broader viewpoint as far as, it changed from vengeance to sort of a more protective umbrella kind of thing. And to me, it's very revealing because it's not just, like I said, that he doesn't want people to feel fear. He doesn't want people to feel the fear as badly as he felt it and not go where he went, you know. And I think it's a struggle for him all of the time to be this guy that has so much anger and resentment for all these criminals that do these terrible things and take so much from people, like stuff was taken from him, but you know, it's just not right to kill them. So they just keep, you know, doing what they do, and you know, that's in the script, otherwise it just goes away. I mean, if he just finds the guy and fixes it, the story's over. So no, that doesn't happen. So it evolves, and then ultimately, though, it's a service effort that he's doing. It's a protection thing. So, I just think that's an important kind of viewpoint right now, because in the scripted world, universe of Batman, like with the back and forth pendulum between like Batman and the villains, and the superheroes and the villains, or like the good people that get hurt and the villains, like whatever it is, it's a constant. There always has to be this polar activity, not unlike our life here on Earth. So maybe that's why we find it so interesting to just constantly drill down into this subject. Unlike Batman, we can't do it like continually all the time. Like, we kind of have to do it in sprints because, like I said, it's a constant thing. Like, it's never gonna end, you know. The world wouldn't be the world if it wasn't polar. Like, if it was just one thing, I don't think the world as we know it could exist. And so another thing that got me started down this path was where is it? I was watching these videos, as I often do, where there's like these sort of lefty news talkers, and they're often, one in particular, the Majority Report, chooses personalities and what they say to focus on. And I do think it's a service that they do that. And I also think it's a service that the people are there that they focus on, that they oppose, more or less, or ultimately, or all of the above. But, you know, I'm talking about the Majority Report, hosted by Sam Cedar and also Emma, I can't remember her last name. Please excuse me. And then there's like, I'm not exactly sure like what you would term the job, but they are like the technical people. So there's like Matt in the background, and then he also has another channel of his own called Left Reckoning. And then there's another guy that's like just a voice from the background. The heck is his name? Brandon, I think. So it's news, and they get callers. It's like a radio show podcast, and they often talk about like Ben Shapiro and his show or his network on YouTube, The Daily Wire, which is very conservative. They'll talk about Steven Crowder and his channel, whatever that is, and they'll talk about basically the right-wing people. Like Joe Rogan, I'm not sure if he's right-wing. I'm not sure what his deal is. I don't know if he's sure what his deal is, and that's okay. Like everyone, whether you agree with them or not, are part of the whole framework of everything. Like we all kind of can't exist without the other, if you think about it. Or if you think about it, like one portion of us existing without the other, can you even conceive of that? It's like, that's our script that we don't really deviate from, because we got our source material, and just over the generations, different filters, but same thing. So, watching these guys, I have thought, like, Dave Rubin is one, and he's gone from, like, one end of the ideological spectrum to where he was saying he was a liberal and a lefty, I suppose, and then now he's been hanging on for years to saying that he was a liberal when he didn't do anything or sound anything like one. And then he just wasn't, he was like working for all these right-wing channels, and it's just a weird thing with him. They don't like gay people generally on the right, and he's married, which I also don't think they are they don't on the right approve gay people getting married. This guy has a kid with a guy. I think they're having more than one kid, and he Rubin, I think, is just trying to fit in somewhere and just have a way to make a living, which I can't fault him for. I think everyone kind of pursues that. That's the American way. It's the human way. But he's not like really accepted or well received, so he moves around a lot, and he's got thicker skin than I'll tell you that. But there's like him, and then like this other guy, Tim Pool, who I call him Meg because he has this beanie he never takes off, and all I can think of is all of the times on Family Guy when Meg has taken off her beanie and it's been like really scary under there. He's always so like, he always looks a little greasy, like his hair or whatever's under that thing, his head is not well bathed or something. I don't know, it's just a perception thing of mine. Neither here nor there. But anyway, they also on the Majority Report focus on him quite a bit because he does say some kind of outlandish things. I would leave it to you to go investigate that for yourself, because I have some feelings about both of those people, but I'm not going to bring them up here because I don't want to get lost and confused from where I was. But what I will say, the reason why I'm bringing up those two different groups, those two sort of opposing groups, is the Majority Report, they kind of like laugh at everything that they get back about what they have to say or have said. And they're not just like going to that channel and going, that guy's gay, let's pick on him because of that. That's not what's happening. It's specifically because he will have said something that they have found objectionable. Okay? It's not really personal, which I'm not sure they understand, or maybe they do. I will continue and you'll understand maybe my confusion. But he's not well known, Dave Rubin, outside of like his area of where he works. And he gets a lot of exposure that he wouldn't have if not for the Majority Report. And the same goes for Tim Pool and Steven Crowder. And what's the other guy with the yarmulke, talks real fast? Ben something, Shapiro. Shap. I call him Shap. Because there's a lot of Bens out there. You know, it gets confusing. So Shap. All of those guys they're not like doing badly. In fact, they financially, from what I understand, are making a lot of money, and it's like, wow. So like they complain a lot, and they're always like, this is not happening, and this isn't right, and this isn't fair, and that like they're always crying about something. And I'm like, geez, what's wrong with you? You have so much, like you're just never happy. What is wrong with you? Snap out of it. But you know, that's just my opinion. But I feel like there's a lot of back and forth. Like the majority report, it may not be nice. It may be like they kind of nail them on stuff. They kind of like catch them out a lot of times, and so these guys on the right, on the far right, sort of cheerleader squad, well, they get a little offended, and then they gotta like say stuff back. So there's always this ongoing back and forth, but it's like it's in the script. And really, I think they should thank the majority report for all of the promotion they get, because if not for them, I don't know if they'd be making as much money as they're making, for one thing, because they wouldn't be as well known, I don't think. I mean, being brought to the attention of some people on the left that would be inclined to react and respond to something that they saw them say on the majority report, they might get those people to their site, not necessarily to join up and decide like, oh, this instead, I would much rather. I'm not saying that, although it may also happen. It's like the static is beneficial for both sides, is my point. And that is a form of service. So, one of the things that those groups of people were talking about today, and it was like sort of everyone kind of got involved in the conversation as far as the discussion on the majority report, and it was about Kanye West and his anti-Semitic eruptions he keeps having. And they have had a lot of conversations about it, like, is he doing it for like attention and money? Possibly. Is he doing it because of his mental health disorder? Possibly. Who knows? But topic of conversation. And so he was a guest, Kanye West was a guest on this Tim Pool Guy show. So this Tim Pool Guy, I'm going to have to link the episode of the Majority Report too. I don't want to try to explain it, but he was like, kind of, he seemed to be showing a bit of trepidation about doing the face-to-face with Kanye West. But I'll let you look at the Majority Report episode to make your own decisions about that. But what ended up happening was, I don't think the conversation went on very long. It's hard to know how long the conversation actually went on, because they kept cutting in to comment, the Majority Report did. So the actual length of the time that he was in the studio with Tim Pool being interviewed, I'm not sure how long it was. I don't think very long, because he ends up getting up and walking out. So the reason why I'm bringing up Kanye West and the conversation is so you can go back and look at what I was talking about this dynamic between all of these people. But also, I have a view about Kanye West and some of the stuff that he comes out with that is really triggering for people. And one thing that I know really gets people nuts is the comment that he made that was slavery was a choice. He didn't really expand upon that, and people freaked out. They're like, here's what I think he was saying. There is a school of thought that a lot of people actually give a lot of credence to, including myself, that before we're born, we meet up with thousands of people that are going to come across, we will come across in our life, and before we were born, with those people, we will map out a life blueprint a plan of what you will do, more or less, because some things you can change are mutable, and some things are cardinal points and are immutable, and you just have to deal with them as they are, and you can't change them. And so, with that thought in mind, with slavery, well, the whole era of slavery and what led up to it and everything that happened to people that lived life as slaves and slave owners and everybody that came in contact with all of those people, that's the kind of thing that a life plan talks about. It's like the involvement of everybody around this issue for however long it exists and whoever it affects over that time. So, with that in mind, before we're born, why would we choose that? Well, if we choose before we're born to have our life path be that of a slave, it's so that we can live the experience, all of it, of being the slave, good, bad, and ugly. Because it's about the experience, it's not personal. But we don't remember that we have done that beforehand. And the other thing is in a previous life, we might have been the slave owner. Or in a previous life, you got to also believe in reincarnation too. But I'm not going to go into that too much. But that was where I think he was coming from with the slavery was a choice comment. But he never explained it. And my problem with it is not that he said it. My problem is that this man has made his career of mouthing words, and he didn't mouth those words too good. He ended up looking like a total nutball. On top of like his other, maybe actual nutball health issues. I know that's not a correct terminology, but I'm not a psycho doctor anything. I am just a lay person shooting off my mouth. But, as offensive as it may sound, what he may be saying, Mr. West, and anti-Semitic this and that and the other thing, yes, I don't think is nice or correct, a lot of the things that he says, because of the way it makes people feel, or the way that it makes him come across, like as if you have no heart or compassion. But it's not personal. It's in the script. It's why we're here. Like all of us, even to the degree of me sitting here right now, not even personally knowing the guy, I am affecting somehow his life path because I'm commenting upon it. I just made myself a part of it. I think that's how it works. So, as far as like sprints and marathons, well, I mean, if you haven't figured out that that's how life works yet, then you must be tired. Like at this, I turned 60 yesterday, but it's taken me almost this long to make all of these conclusions and make some sense of it. Well, what I was going to comment on is that I noticed a long time ago, actually in my teens, that life is a series of sprints and marathons, and like good times and bad times and emotional ups and downs, and you get so far and you achieve so much, and like maybe you're on that plateau for a while and feeling good, and then something comes along and strikes you down, and that's the new plateau you're on. Sprints and marathons, life is ever changing. You kind of planned it out that way, presumably. And why? Why are we doing it? Well, we make the life plans with all these different people to make all these events happen, to experience with each other. We're servicing each other. You hear that any way you want, because it's all acceptable. But I think that's what's happening. I think that's all of what I said. I think that's what's happening. And so, just to, I don't want to be greedy with what little time I'm being granted here, so I'm going to end. Thank you and good night. I'm happy to be of service.